Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Aradhana and today I'm here with the part 5 of the great Indian novel. Now this particular chapter or the part of this book is called the fifth book, which is The Power of Silence. And this book is very important in establishing Gandhi as the leader of Indian national movements, and what his philosophy was and how people started believing in his philosophy, and how the effectiveness of his philosophy and his principles was laid out by him during this one instance where he was working these helping these mill workers to get their salaries. But before getting on to the book, let me just request you to like this video and share it with your friends, and subscribe my channel if you haven't done that already. And now, without any further ado, let's get into today's video and let's see what this book is all about. Now the title of this particular section of the book, which is The Powers of Silence, has been taken from Paul Scott's book, or it is kind of a representative of Paul Scott's book, The Towers of Silence. And this is a beautiful wordplay, The Powers of Silence instead of The Towers of Silence. So this is, and most of the names of the chapter has been given in that way, as we have seen in the previous videos. And if you haven't watched the previous videos, you should just go and check them out before watching this one. So yeah, this is the silence word in this title is symbolic to the non-violent and peaceful protests of Mahatma Gandhi, and all in all is all principles of truth and non-violence, and that's why this has been titled as The Powers of Silence. So now let's deep dive into the details of this chapter. And this particular section of the book consists of, I guess, 7 to 8 chapters in all. So I'm gonna break that down bit by bit, and then you can understand what is actually there in this book. Now the most important thing that you need to know before getting onto this book is that in the previous videos or in the previous chapters, we saw that Gandhiji was getting involved in the Indian national movements, but not directly. In the Champaran Satyagraha, we saw that he was involved with them and he was advising people. And again, he did that. He did not fast at that point in time, but here he is going to directly take matters into his own hands. Not at first, because he is teaching a lot of lesson to the people of India, but when it comes to when people start questioning his faith and questioning his principles, then he is gonna come out directly and show that he is just not kidding around like that, like with his principles. He is damn serious about his principles, and he is gonna make sure that they are effective and people don't question them again in the future. So that is the most important aspect of this book. I think we can say about this book, this particular book, is that here Mahatma Gandhi takes on the leadership and he becomes the leader as we know him today. And this is a kind of a build-up which is going to result in the recognition of him as the father of the nation and as the ultimate leader of India. So that is the kind of thing that is building on in this book, and this is like kind of the first or the initial steps of him getting to that pedestal. And he makes sure that people know that when he says truth and non-violence, fighting for truth and non-violence, he is damn serious about them, and that he is even ready to die for them. It's not like he is just saying this for the sake of negotiating with the Britons and with the factory workers or anything. He is serious about all those things, and it's better that people also get serious about him, because this is just not about about a mere salary or about a mere negotiation between the factory workers and the mill owners. It is going to become a much bigger issue in the future, and that's why he is it's a first glimpse of the kind of things he can do, the extremities he can go to prove his principles to be effective, and the kind of sacrifice you have to do in order to get what you want. So I think there is a famous quote by Mahatma Gandhi as well, that if you don't ask, you don't get. So it's simply that if you don't ask, you don't get doesn't mean that you have to just ask for it. It's that you have to sacrifice for it. You have to do everything you can do to make that happen for you, and this is what he's making sure with people in this particular section of the book. And these are the kinds of lessons that he gives to people, particularly to these mill workers, and his principles just spread like wildfire and throughout India, and people start recognizing the kind of things that he is up to, and they start supporting him after seeing a few results. Okay. Now let's take a look at the brief version of this story and what things are happening in this particular section of the book. Now this story focuses on Calcutta, and there is a cotton mill in Calcutta, and what happens is that there is an epidemic going on, but the owners are still taking all the work from these mill workers. And what happens is that the sister of the company's owner, who is a Monte Rollet, and his sister, whose name is Sarah Moore, she persuades her brother that they give these mill workers an 80% bonus for working in the epidemic, and even in these trying times, they where they should have got leave for that, but they are still working, so they have to get 80% bonus for that. And the owners also promise to do that, but now what happens is that when they start withdrawing this bonus, this 80% bonus that they're gonna get, these mill workers just refuse to do that. And that is the kind of attitude that Britishers like always had, and this was nothing new, I guess. So they refuse to do that. Now what happens is that these mill workers say that they are okay to get even a 50% of bonus. They are like, no, we cannot do that as well. So now these these mill workers have nothing. Even there is this epidemic and they really don't have anything, and they were promised this 80% bonus. Now they're not also getting that. Above that, these Britishers also lock these factory workers out and refuse to give them work as well. They are like, no bonus, no salary and nothing, and you're also locked out. Just do whatever you want to do. We have nothing to do with you. So that is the scenario that Gandhiji faces at that point in time, and people, because he has successfully laid out the foundation of Champaran Satyagraha, so people are ultimately like going to him that what they should do about this whole issue. So one thing that I would like to clear out here is that this kind of incident did happen in Indian history, but it was not in Calcutta, if I remember it right. And I also searched it. There was nothing about any such uprising in Calcutta. It was in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. These kinds of things happened, and there was this particular instance about that, and where Mahatma Gandhi took a lot of leadership there. But I have really no idea that it happened in Calcutta. So I think maybe this is an allusion to that incident, but whatever. So I really don't have an idea that why is this done, but the book says that it's outside Calcutta now. It's near Calcutta. So I really don't know what to make of that, if that is symbolic to Ahmedabad and Gujarat. Baj is Ahmedabad and Gujarat is Calcutta, but I really have no idea. The particular thing is also not given on the internet, so I cannot really assure you if it is about Ahmedabad Gujarat incident or it is some other incident. But yeah, that's happening, and this kind of incident did happen in Ahmedabad, so you should know that. Now the reason behind the hostile attitude of these Britishers towards these mill workers is a big one. The World War I is going on, and they need cotton to make sandbags. Now this whole incident is given in the book, and this description I'm going to read out to you so that it clears your mind. The thing was that this cotton was the reason behind the prosperity of Scotland, and there is also the name given of this particular plant, which I'm going to write somewhere here, of Bengal, was also very important for Scotland, and that's why they wanted it. Also they had to make sandbags for World War I, and we had nothing to do with World War I, and even we had nothing to do with it. We were supposed to work for them somehow. So there is this particular paragraph given in book which talks about why cotton was so important for them and for World War I, and yeah, I'm going to read out to you so that it becomes even more clear to you as well. Now it goes like this, quote, This pleasant little arrangement, fields in Bengal, factories in Scotland, might have gone on indefinitely were it not for Kaiser William II, to whom all Bengalis owe a major debt of gratitude. He marched into Belgium and started World War I. The war quintupled the demand for jute because Europeans needed it to make sandbags with, to buffer their trenches and barricade their streets. And since it was quicker and cheaper and safer to process the jute near where it was grown, Bengal acquired a jute industry. The factories were built at last on Indian soil, and the area around Dundee finally began giving way to the environs of Dum Dum. So the thing is that this whole incident is because they wanted to make sandbags for World War I. So just for their gains in the World War I, they were making the Indian mill workers suffer because of that, and that was like really unfair. First of all, I mean, it's obviously unfair, and Sarah Moore also saw that it was. So now you see that why, because of World War I, they wanted to barricade these streets. And if you don't know what is barricading the streets, this is the picture that you need to see. These kinds of things were happening, and that's why they needed sandbags, and that's why they were doing this with these Indian mill workers. And it was all their selfish ends that they were meeting. And so now this is the starting of making Indians destitute, and this is the kind of thing that is going to increase day by day, year by year, month by month, whatever you say. Now here the writer comments on how these Britishers kind of invented poverty in India, because India was a golden bird before they came to India. And he says that, quote, "The British killed the Indian artisan. They created the Indian landless laborers. They exported our full employment, and they inverted our poverty." So, unquote. And this is the kind of thing that they invented in India, and maybe to this day we have not got out of it, and thanks to them, I guess. What happens is that Gandhiji has also come to Bajbaj, and he comes, and Sarah Moore is also there, and she's on the side of the workers, and they both go and meet her brother Montague Rolette. And what happens is that during that meeting is really, really disgusting. They say they are going to give them a 20% raise, no bonus, just a 20% raise in their salaries. And it was like, Sarah Moore was like, what the hell is wrong with you? She was just disgusted by her own brother, and she just said, just leave this place. And she left with Mahatma Gandhi. And Gandhiji, when he came to these workers after this meeting, and he said that you should demand 35% raise at least, and you should fast for the cause. And those are the kinds of things that he advised almost everywhere, and this is the first instance where he is really advising that. Now he advised to fast. He did not fast himself, and there is a whole new symbolism that I see here, and I have written a bit about this, and I think you should listen to it. If you don't want to listen to that, what this symbolizes, then you should just skip it, and if you want to listen to it, you are just thank you for that. So I'm gonna read this out. I have written this, and you're not gonna find it anywhere else, so I'm gonna read it. And it's that. Now this particular instance is very important, because here Gandhi did not fast himself, rather he makes these workers do that. This symbolizes that you need to stand up for yourself. This is not Gandhi's problem. The workers must do this for themselves. Helping yourself is a courageous task, and you need to do that. You need to learn to do that. That's what Gandhi is teaching these workers, and through this to the whole nation, which has to fight, which must fight for their independence, for their nation's independence in the upcoming years. What happens is that Gandhi is not fasting himself, but he comes to address this crowd once every day at 5 a.m. in the morning. What happens is that he comes in a car, in Sarah Moore's car, and he is eating and everything, and he comes to address these people, and he addresses them every day at 5 a.m. Now these owners, what they do, I mean, this is so idiotic of them. This is so sneaky and subtle, and this is just disgusting. They now open these gates and say that anybody who is willing to work at 20% raise, or you can come and work. So this is like, you are tempting a poor person to come work below their means, and below what they should get. So this is also tempting because it's been weeks since they have been doing this, and they are getting nowhere. It seems like they are getting nowhere. So now what happens is that when these workers are tempted to work at 20% raise, Gandhiji now declares that even though the company's lockout has ended, but the workers' strike has now begun. So this is the twist that comes along in a very subtle manner. And now this particular twist by Gandhiji, you can say, is a hope in every mill worker that they are going to get what they want. And there is this song, this this book is a little amalgamation of verse and prose and everything. So there is this simple poem. It says that these mill workers are singing for Gandhiji. It says that I dreamt I saw paradise last night, where every man was free, where workers sang and toiled and prayed at the feet of Gangaji, And Gangaji said, this bliss is yours, because you held out till the end, for you stood with courage in your hearts and stoutly refused to bend, Yes, we shall win, brothers and friends, we shall win by staying true to our cause, our faith, our firm belief that God will give us our due, So it's like a very simple, sweet poem that these mill workers are singing. And even in this situation, they are very happy about the fact that there is still hope. Now what happens is that Gandhiji now starts addressing these people at 7:30 a.m., which is the time the factory gates open. Now these people are tempted because their families are starving, right? Because it's been weeks and nothing has turned up for them. So these people are tempted towards that, and Gandhiji starts addressing them at 7:30. You would say that what kind of an evilish plan is that? But it's not. It's just not, because the kind of things that he is teaching them is that most of the things that tempt you might be the most evil of things. For example, if you say the apple of Eden Garden, the forbidden fruit of Eden Garden was the most tempting one, as they say in the in the story of Adam and Eve. It was the most tempting fruit, but it was the most that's why it was forbidden. It was evil, and that's why the serpent tried to tempt Eve into eating that fruit, and eating that fruit was the worst mistake Eve could have done, and she did that. And that is the whole kind of theme there. That's what I see. And things might be tempting, but they might be evil as well. So you should not be tempted that easily, and you should reject them for greater good. And that is what the plan of Gandhiji is there to even seeing something which is just right in front of you. That's what you just need. But maybe something that is tempting doesn't mean that it's really good. So all that glitters is not gold. So yeah, this is basically the thing here as well. So now that happens, what you and I have been anticipating for long, that people start losing hope. They are like Gangaji's plan is not working out in a way that they would have wanted. Even after saying that it was workers' strike, the things are not looking good. And the thing is that Ved Vyas, which is the writer that has been represented here, he confronts Gangaji that what the hell is happening. And he says that he tells him that these people are saying that Gangaji to kuch kar hi nahi rahe hain. They are like, you are coming in Saramore's this amazing car, and you are eating food, you're drinking, you're having everything. He's like that you are not doing anything, and the people are feeling that your principles are just hollow, and they are just nothing. They have no effectiveness, and that's why they have got nothing. And so the thing that happens is that Gandhiji now takes the matter into his hands, and he says that now he is gonna fast. And he's gonna fast doesn't mean he's not gonna eat, but also he is not gonna drink. So this is a big thing, you know. So now he says that he is gonna fast till death. That's what he means. When Gandhiji ever says that he's gonna fast, it means that he's gonna fast till death. It's not like I'm gonna fast like today people do, it's like I'm gonna fast till death, till I get what I want. So it's kind of, it's also said that most of the time that, you know, Gandhiji was kind of headstrong, and maybe that was good, that was bad in some times as well. But here this is all working for him because he's fasting till death for a good cause. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that is shown here. Now here he tells Ved Vyas this famous line by Mahatma Gandhi that, you know, fasting is my business. Now here this instance is also given that what did he mean by that, because this sentence, like any other sentence, could be said in a number of ways, and what he really meant is unclear and maybe clear. So let me just read that out to you. And then in that mild tone of voice by which he instantly disarmed his listeners, he added the famous words, the immortal words that now edge his place in every book of quotations. Fasting, he said, is my business. Fasting is my business. How many ways those words can be read, Ganpati? Fasting is my business. Fasting is my business. Fasting is my business. Even why not? Fasting is my business. And even those who actually heard him utter the words cannot agree on where the great man had placed his emphasis. It does not matter. Perhaps in some mysterious way, he conveyed all four meanings and many nuances beyond in his delivery of that classic phrase. Today, it has passed into history, a slogan, a caption worn by overuse, cheapened by imitation. Yet once the words were out of his mouth, Gangaji never himself used them again. So this is the kind of way he was like, not saying a lot of words but doing things. Talk is cheap, and doing things is what matters the most. So he was that kind of a person. First, he's established that fasting is his business, and he's gonna do that. That is his way of doing things. That is his way of doing things, and he's gonna do that. He's not gonna say that again and again. He's just gonna do what he has to do. The thing is that when Gangaji started fasting, like in this manner, like do or die kind of thing is there, people just were in awe of him. And this was the rise of nationalism in India, and this is something that kind of is working to unite the feeling of nationalism in Indians. And Saramur was like, why are you doing this to yourself? I mean, the people need you, the world needs you, the whole India, the independence of India is suffering, and you cannot let yourself die like this. But what happens is that Gandhiji kind of said that there is a lot of things that I really want to read out loud from this book for all of you, because this book is just really dense and staggering, but it's amazing, and I just really want to talk about this book a lot. Now, even though this thing might be clear that Gandhiji is going to fast till he dies, or their demands are met, but what happens is that people are really confused. This means that they are not really comprehending the idea of non-violence and of truth. And in confusion, what happens is that there is a Muslim weaver and who pulls out his knife, and he's prepared to die immediately for the cause. And it shows that people were not really comprehending his ideas. And he was like, he also, this Muslim weaver also was like, we could finish these English people. But that was not what Gandhiji was saying, that you take the knife and just cut the throat of an English man. It was not his way. Okay, so the thing was that these people were united. They were like, yes, we have to, do this together. That was the main end of Gandhiji, though it is going to be resulting in a lot different than what you might be thinking. So these are but this generated Indian nationalism, and that was the whole and soul goal of his mission, that people become united, Indians become united. That was the most important thing. And what happens is that what another thing that has been discussed is that these radical students, they signal their support by setting fire to university mess halls. So it's You can see that how is, this slogan of do or die is kind of like, by that do they mean that you can just do whatever you want for the independence of India. That's not what he was saying. So this is the kind of thing that was really this is confusion and chaos all the way, but you can't really do anything about it, because changing every person is just it's a big task. You can't even change yourself, forget about the world. Now Sara Behan comes to Gandhi ji, and now Sara Moore has become Sara Behan, and it's really symbolic of what kind of relationship that Indians kind of established to strangers, even to Britishers, the kind of thing. And there is this beautiful paragraph that the way Sara Moore understood Gandhiji's principles, rather than these people who were violent, and I mean these people were Indian, still they could not understand this great Indian man. And Sara Behan being a Britisher, and she was like really into this idea of Mahatma Gandhi. She understood him really well, and it says that she tried to tell them so. Sara understood Ganga intuitively. It was one of the order mysteries of Indian history that the person who most quickly got onto Ganga's instinctive wavelength was not one of us from Hastinapur, who had all found his eccentricities so difficult, but this English bourgeois with the complexion of an underripe beetroot. Yeah, these are the kinds of things, she understood him, even though Indians refused to understood him. They did not refuse to understand him, but they did not understand him fully, but Sara Behan understood him, and that's a really important thing. Now the thing is that even though being a Western woman, she understood what fasting was really like. Now here I have written again a bit of the thing, so I'm gonna talk about that. I've read a little paragraph. It's very like 6-7 lines that I've written about fasting and how is that symbolic to the ways of Gandhi, and that's how I understand it, and I think you will too. So let me just read that out. So it's like fasting in Western culture is mainly about maintaining your figure, but India it is way different. I'm not talking about India nowadays, because there are intermittent fasting and not for all those kinds of things. So yeah, that is what I believe. And fasting is like rebooting your system, which we all know. But in India, a woman fast for the sake of her family, her child, her husband, and it is done without any resentment, and this is seen as a kind of a sacrifice for the sake of your loved ones. And fasting is also kind of seen as a sacrificial practice to the deities. This is one thing that links Islam and Hinduism to the very core, because in Islam also there you do rosas and all those kinds of things, and in Hinduism there is like a fast for every day almost. So yeah, this is how we Indians see fasting, and why it's so sacred and it's so sacrificial in nature. So these kinds of things is what I think are symbolic to Indians, and that's what Sara Moore actually understood about this, the whole fasting process of Mahatma Gandhi, and what Indians refused to see. And maybe they did not see that simply, but it's just that. So now what happens is that when he starts fasting, the governor of Bengal gives in, and he's like, they can't do that. But what they say is that first there would be 80% raise, and it would be 35 for other day, for the second day, and then from third day it would be 27.5%. Now that was the loophole. It was not like 80% would be there for for always. It was like 80%. They wanted 80%, so it was like, okay, ek din ke liye 80% is okay. Then we'll, from the second day we'll do 35%, and then we'll do 27%. And it was kind of like this 80% was, for one day was like, you just stop your fasting and all those things, and then we'll do what we want to do. So it was kind of, these Britons are kind of like these sneaky and subtle serpent of the Garden of Eden, and it's really kind of, to what extent can a person stoop to exploit the other people, and that's what we should learn from Britons. I mean, we should not learn that, but we should definitely get warned by them. So yeah, this is the whole story that is there in this book, and this is the whole story of this particular chapter. And the last, there is a commentary about how the this sacred thing of fasting has been made into just a joke by today people. Do these kinds of things, which has just brought it down to just a trick to meet their ends. So it says something like that, quote, "What could be more absurd than the widely practiced relay fast of today's politicians, where different people take in turns to miss their meals in public? Since no one starves for long enough to create any problem for himself or the others, the entire point of Gangaji's original idea is lost. All we are left with is the dharma without the sacrifice." And isn't that a metaphor for Indian politics today? So yeah, this is the kind of things that are here, and the importance of fasting, the importance of non-violence, truth, and all the principles of Mahatma Gandhi, the importance of Mahatma Gandhi, everything is so much packed in this single chapter, and this is one of the best chapters of this book. And yeah, that was my analysis of it, and that was my brief review of it, and that was it for today's video. And this was part 5 of the video and part 5 of the book, and I will make the part 6 of the video as soon as possible, and I'll complete this book no matter what, no matter how much time it takes. But you all like this video, share it with your friends, because that's important for encouraging me to make more videos, and you better do that, okay? And subscribe my channel for more such videos, and I will be making I will be covering all the parts of this book. Don't worry about that. Until then, keep reading, and keep reading a lot of books, keep reading a lot of matter, and engage yourself in literature. And yeah, I would meet you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.